Good Sunday morning, everyone. I got really bad, unfortunate news to share with you all as the latest high-resolution models have trended stronger for the nor'easter across the northeast for today. And then the deep south snowstorm just got even more serious, especially for New Orleans, Louisiana, Houston, Texas, and Corpus Christi, as latest models have trended even higher on snowfall totals. And then lastly, the Arctic outbreak across the northern tier of the United States just took a turn for the worst as wind chill values of -60 or even lower are expected. Now, as far as those snowfall totals go for this winter storm for the Northeast, they are looking a bit on the significant side, depending on where you're at. But right now, I am forecasting roughly between 5 to 8 inches of snowfall across much of the Pennsylvania area, northern New Jersey, most of New York town to the south, including for Connecticut, Massachusetts, including for Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine, going to get quite a bit of snowfall. Downtown New York, 4 to 7 inches of snowfall is now forecasted based on the National Weather Service forecast model. Now that we talked about the significant nor'easter for today into early tomorrow morning, this winter storm developing across the deep south is looking extreme, potentially historic for this time of the year, especially for Louisiana and portions of Houston, Texas. Now, taking a look at the very latest Canadian model here for midnight on Tuesday, January the 21st, 2025, and the blue area on your screen is where there's going to be a little bit of snowfall over central, eastern, and southern Texas. And this is going to only grow stronger and bigger as we go into the morning hours of Tuesday for your morning commute, especially. In fact, by 6 a.m. on Tuesday, Houston, Texas, right down here, you're expecting to get a lot of snow and freezing rain concerns, sleet in the mix as well. Corpus Christi down here in Texas, too, you're going to get a little bit of freezing rain and icy conditions. And then Dallas, Texas up here, as well as eastern Texas, light to moderate to perhaps heavy snowfall rates. And that's not all. This storm is going to continue to march further east as we go throughout the day on Tuesday. In fact, by about noon on Tuesday, around lunchtime, we're looking at moderate to heavy snowfall across central northern Louisiana, southeastern Texas, into Mississippi and Alabama, with a lot of ice, a lot of significant ice, in fact, for Houston, Texas, and southern Louisiana on this particular model, okay? This is one model. We will be looking at the European model here in a second, but you can see what the Canadian model has been indicating for a while now. The sleet, the snow, and just mix in between here of potential freezing rain as well. So by the time we go into about the evening commute here, right around, say, about 3 p.m. for Louisiana, Mississippi, there's going to be moderate to heavy snowfalls. So this is going to be the really big concern here. If you're driving, if you're going anywhere, this is not a time to do it because there is going to be a ton of snowfall accumulation here, possibly on the order of a foot in some isolated areas, including for southern portion there of Alabama and Georgia. Still thinking we are going to have an extreme ice storm over northern portion there of Florida, perhaps maybe a historic ice storm. Hopefully that doesn't pan out. What I just said was a little bit on the much side, but I'm telling you, lots of ice down here could lead to or will lead to a lot of power outages. Lots of this orange, that's sleet accumulation. That's very significant as well. And then thank goodness that up here, it's not going to be all that bad and there's not much dynamics. So this system is going to be moving out awfully quickly here, according to the Canadian. In fact, it's going to be gone by the time we go into Wednesday afternoon on the 22nd of January. Now, when we take a look at the very latest European model here for, again, early Tuesday morning, showing this significant extreme snowstorm going to be developing very quickly. You can see Houston, Texas getting very heavy snowfall. Blizzard conditions are a possibility because we're going to have some very strong northerly winds coming offshore, blowing that snow around. We also have a lot of ice accumulation potentially over here in Corpus Christi, Texas. Now, that's not all. This is for your morning commute. I want to really emphasize this. If you are doing anything outdoors, if you're leaving early for work, allow a lot of extra time. Possibly allow an hour or more to get to your destination, because this snow is going to be coming down very, very heavy. Or simply stay home. Don't be going to work at all. You can work from home for one day. I'm sure your boss will allow you to do that, because this snowstorm is only going to get worse as we go into the afternoon commute, specifically for Louisiana. You can see really dark blue colors there over Lake Charles, Gonzales, Louisiana. If you are in New Orleans, Louisiana, central and southern Mississippi, central southern Alabama into Mobile, yeah, this is really, really bad. This is considered a historic snowstorm, especially over here, right where I circled. That's where we could be seeing the most snowfall out of this winter storm. And yeah, up to 10 inches or more is certainly a very big possibility. And if that happens, this would be considered historic by all means. And it's not going to get any better. Look at this for western half of the panhandle of Florida, southern Georgia down here. If you're in southern Alabama, man, these areas are going to get decimated by heavy snowfall, lots of ice, specifically in this narrow corridor in southeastern Georgia and northern Florida, okay? And this will be enough to knock out your power, to bring down trees, to make road travel very dangerous, if not impossible, with flight cancellations and delays very much likely at this point, specifically or especially over northern Florida and southeastern Georgia, where the conditions will be at their worst. But after this moves through, the snow is going to be moving offshore by Wednesday morning, with this big ice storm still continuing, unfortunately, all the way through Wednesday morning. And again, just like the Canadian model, the European model is not showing this clearing out also until early afternoon on Wednesday. Now, as far as the snowfall totals go on the European model, they are very alarming and pretty concerning here, especially over southeastern Texas into Louisiana. Again, this includes you all living in Houston, Texas, and also points east into Lake Charles, Louisiana, central Louisiana, Gonzales, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, those areas. Some of these areas, especially near Houston now, are forecasted to get potentially up to 10 inches of snowfall, maybe even a little more in isolated areas. Doesn't surprise me if we do get isolated snowfall amounts up to potentially a foot, up to a foot. That is some historic snowfall totals this far south in southeastern Texas into central and southern Louisiana. And it continues across the southeastern U.S., including the mid-Atlantic, where a lot of you along the coast here of the southeast, such as the Carolinas, could get 3 to 6 inches of snowfall, including for northern Florida, southern Georgia, southern Alabama. You're likely to get 2 to 4 inches of snowfall out of this winter storm. Not quite as much as Louisiana, but still a very highly impactful winter storm nonetheless. Your freezing rain totals are looking very concerning, especially on the European model. We're still thinking anywhere between about 1/3 of an inch now up to maybe 1/2 inch of ice for northern portion there of Florida and southeastern Georgia. Some isolated localized amounts could exceed up to 1/2 inch or more in those areas, including for, say, Houston, Texas, Corpus Christi, Texas. You're still looking at around 1/10 of an inch or more of ice. And it's still aggressive here on the latest Canadian model, still indicating anywhere between about 1/3 of an inch to maybe 7/10 of an inch of ice. Look at this. This is really bad news over the Big Bend of Florida, including for, say, Tallahassee, Jacksonville, Florida, looking at significant amounts of ice accumulation. You bet there will be a lot of power outages that could last a long time. Now that we talked about the winter storm side of things for the Northeast and for the Deep South, we do need to talk about this Arctic air. This has gotten so extreme, so concerning, that now I'm going to involve this in Sunday morning's video, especially for the northern tier of the United States, because the National Weather Service now is forecasting wind chill values as low as -60 degrees below zero. That is deadly. That is unsurvivable cold temperatures that are anticipated. So looking at the latest European model here, you can see this colder air going to continue to surge southward, and is really specifically on Monday morning. Wind chill values, you see it there on your screen. Far northern portion there of North Dakota, negative 60 degrees below zero. That is record, that is dangerous, that is extreme, that's even historic. And this is going to be a huge problem through Wednesday this week as this Arctic air mass continues to migrate a little further south, especially over the Great Lakes and the Northeast. You're going to be dealing with wind chill values between negative 20 to potentially negative 30 degrees through Wednesday and even into Thursday before wind chill values and temperatures do moderate and warm up a little bit, but still awfully dangerously cold through at least the rest of this work week. But anyways, if you found this video really helpful, detailed, and informative, please don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit the bell notification icon to get all of my updates here on the channel, as I do upload 1 to 2 videos a day. Also hit the like button if you did like today's video. Share this video with their family and friends to get this out to as many people as we can, so the YouTube algorithm could recommend this to a larger audience. But anyways, I will be live streaming this evening on the winter storm that is anticipated for the Deep South. We're going to be looking at the Arctic outbreak as it surges out of the north, and take a look at the current snowstorm for the Northeast as that will be in progress. That live stream is scheduled for 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again, if you have not subscribed and hit the bell icon, please do so you get the notification when I do go live.